Hey everyone, this is Darren Benson with Performance Motorcoaches. Doing a video of our property up in Michigan, just right north of the state line. Someday we're going to build a big RV storage here, but we're just too darn busy right now, which is a good thing. It's springtime, I've got a little bug that's going around me. It's crazy. So this is basically the 5th day of March. It's beautiful pretty much all the way across the country. We're still crazy busy in the coach business. We sold all of our classics, our in-stock classics. We only had 2. This is our next available classic. This guy is really bothering me. So this is a CBF, which is our most common floor plan. It is a 2-bath bunkhouse. It does have a bunk over as well. One thing that is very cool and unique about this particular truck is this is the short hood Cascadia. I'm typically not a big fan of the short hood Cascadia in a classic unless it has the DT12 transmission. So somewhat of a unicorn, not too many of those built. Most of them will be the 6-speed Allison. To me, it's a rocket ship. We've driven several of these coaches back to Texas, and it is hard for me not to be driving 80 miles an hour. It just seems like the sweet spot on these is right about 75 to 80 miles an hour. So I said it is the short hood, so it's the DT13, so 12.8 liters, and is coupled with the DT12 transmission. So why do I feel like this is such a dialed in particular truck? And my response is basically you've got Daimler that owns Detroit and owns Freightliner, and they basically designed this particular truck, engine and transmission, all to be coupled together. So pretty much all the fleet guys out there will run the DD13. Some will run the DD15, but a really common motor is this DD13. I would say, without a doubt, the most common motor out there. As far as the cab itself, no real difference in the cab other than just the hood. Now, if you're staring at the steps on a short hood versus a long hood, the axle gets pushed back a little bit, which anytime you get the axle pushed back, you have a little bit tighter turning radius. So that's probably the biggest benefit beyond the engine transmission, is it is a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter turning radius due to being a little bit shorter. And I feel, I've not done the math, but I really feel like it turns just a little bit sharper. The wheels basically cut left or right a little bit more than normal. So this will be for somebody that still wants to pull, or that maybe would potentially want to pull. Probably not the 40,000 pound plus, but if you're anywhere 20, 30,000 pounds, I really feel like this is probably one of the most dialed in trucks out there on the market. And as far as fuel economy, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a mile to maybe a mile and a half better fuel economy versus the 600, especially if you're comparing the 600 to the Allison, leaps and bounds over the 600 Allison to this DD13 with the DT12. So we'll talk about the outside. The sun's going down, so it's kind of hard to see everything. So standard will be all the black awnings. We get black profiles on the other side, and we do have black slide toppers. I think it looks good with the Freightliner because you have a lot of black components to begin with. If we ever do a blackout package, then all that stuff kind of ties in. We do, all of our classic coaches, we paint the top rail, which is aluminum extrusion. The bad thing about not painting that is it'll oxidize and you'll see all the black streaks. So I think it's pretty cool to be able to take and do all that. Of course, 2023 was whenever they went to the mid-entry CBF. So it just kind of laid out a few things differently. Combined storage compartment, 23 and newer will be the combined compartment. We do have the bedline storage compartments. I bet you this guy is locked. Nope, it's not. 43-inch TV, so that's standard. Side swing baggage compartments are all standard, and then the fully locking. So you'll have a key fob and the keypad, all Trimark system there. It does have the AquaHot 450. You can option for the 600, but we've been doing a lot of the pressure washer in this compartment. The cool thing about that is you don't have to heat that. As long as your AquaHot's running, that system will stay nice and warm. You don't have to do any kind of winterization, and we can fit basically everything in there. It's definitely tight, but we can fit a whole deionizer system, the power washer, and the hose reel all within that little compartment. does have the optional side turn signals. To me, this is kind of just a no-brainer. Initially, they weren't offered on the XLs, and now you'll be able to find them on the Classics and XLs. I wish they'd just make it standard. It's just nice to be able, if you're a car hanging out here, not paying attention, when that light turns on, it just kind of gets your attention at night, and generally will get the heck out of the way. So, 3/4 pass-through compartment right here is standard. Makes it nice to be able to put, you know, maybe some long ladders. We are working on a really nice slide tray that is the lowest profile possible to be able to maximize all that, be able to kind of be able to put, you know, small items underneath there and back and forth. So central vac right here, that is an option. That 25 will be standard. There is a 110 plug within that, and some of the hitch assembly that comes all from the factory. Now, I don't have another example to be able to show you, but this is for people, for the true dialed in classic connoisseur. You're looking down this trim rail. This is a flat trim rail. This is what they've used on the Veronas, the Valencias, versus the Classic. They never got away from the different trim rail that basically was like a hinged trim rail. And so it kind of sticks out a little bit. To me, this looks so much cleaner, nicer. And this particular piece is glued on versus a gazillion screws. For people that know about the Classic and have heard of any kind of water intrusion, the more holes, the worse off you're at. So you don't have to worry about all the gazillion holes down the side. Everything glues together. So a little bit cleaner, nicer, tidier, and less likelihood of any kind of water intrusion, water damage. Of course, the signature back Classic is essentially just a square box, no fiberglass rear cap. Does have the Gen Y, you know, you hear lots of stuff back and forth on the hitch itself. So technically this whole assembly is rated at 40,000 pounds. However, this puts you down at 30,000 pounds. But most of our customers really aren't towing and pulling that much weight. It's just simply, if you drive a truck, you probably won't get back into any kind of diesel pusher. The trucks are just great to drive. They don't fatigue you while you're driving, you know, 500, 600, maybe 1,000 miles. Come over here. So there's a 50 amp plug that's inside that compartment. The transfer switch is located inside. And then there is a 32 foot, I think I said 36 in the past, but it should be a 32 foot short cord reel. 12.5 generator is standard on anything tandem axle over 40 foot. Wet bay here. So there is a hydronic register in anything from the LE up. In the wet bay, you do have 12 volt heat pads that go on the bottom side of each one of the gray water, black water tanks. And then you do have the water hose reel right here. It makes it really handy to be able to couple up and be able to use the pressure, or to be able to take and fill the coach itself. And then this is auto retract. All of these will have a whole house water filter system built on board, and the black water flush. This does have the optional macerator pump located within this compartment to be able to pump those out. A little bit cleaner, nicer way to get rid of your waste. 75 gallons a piece. And so if you've seen this exact coach in the long hood Cascadia, because the fuel tank gets pushed forward, this compartment gets slightly larger. So on this particular coach right here, the maximum number of batteries we can stick in this is 3 batteries with the dual Victron inverters, which I feel is more than sufficient for out boondocking. No problem running an air conditioner, keeping up while you're driving down the road as well. Do have a little bit of storage underneath your chassis batteries. There again, if you were looking at a, like I said, cab being the same, basically the 126, you'd be fueling about right here, and all this gets pushed forward, including the axle just a little bit. 60-inch bunk overhead. We do a window on this side, and then we do a cabinet on this side. Gives you essentially a 60 by 80-inch long mattress. Does have the disco lights underneath. So I always like to see and show how much room you have within the coach. So I can still get in here, get to any beverages that I might need, get in and out of the cab with relative ease, and still be able to come back here mid-coach, grab a snack out of the pantry, swap my wash if I needed, and then still get to the full mid-bath. Let me get the slide out. Hydraulic slide on this side, so you'll see how fast this dude runs right here. And that's hooked into the factory leveling system. And the big combo slide back here. I'm gonna roll that dude out. So the bed slide first, and we'll do the combo slide on this side. I don't think we can do it all at the same time. Nope. So I gotta go through the kitchen. You okay to sturdy everything? We got some extra parts. We try to ship parts in coaches rather than having to UPS them back home. Allows us kind of a little bit of advantage to be able to get coaches completed back home with relative ease, not have to wait a week on parts. So the CBF obviously has a little bit less room. All your